Palworld is often described as Pokemon with guns, and while it might be a good visual description, gameplay-wise it's more of an Ark survival evolved with Pokemon instead of dinosaurs, and without a dedicated defecate button. You will be missed. But seeing Pokemon commit war crimes is only one side of the coin that led to such an explosive popularity of the game. The other side being all the crimes you can commit against them, from punching to death, capturing, selling on the black market, stealing their children, incinerating, just straight up shooting with a double-barrel shotgun, and of course, enslaving. I'm only half joking here, because while it's fun to see them get violent, it's also greatly satisfying to see cute monsters go around your base doing their chores, as long as they actually do them. It is yet another visual representation of your progression through the game. Not only does your base get bigger with more stations, as it usually does in survival games, but you also get more interesting helpers running around, and more of them. It definitely incentivizes you to keep going and progress further into the game. And there's quite a lot to do here. On top of the usual survival stuff, you gotta obviously catch them all, but then some won't have the passive skills you want, so you'll catch a few more, and then there's an experience bonus for catching first 10 of each kind, and then later you can even sacrifice duplicates to strengthen one chosen one, and then there's also breeding and hatching system with lots of different combinations to explore, skills to learn from literal skill trees, items to enable unique abilities, collectibles to improve the chances of actually catching anything, and, well, there's always something to do, find, or improve. And that was quite a surprise for me, as this game felt more like a meme than anything else prior to its release. Guns and Pokemon just seemed like such an absurd combination, but well, I guess it's important to clarify that pals, despite the resemblances and all the salty comparisons on Twitter, are not actually Pokemon. Pal's designs were, at the very least, inspired by them, but whether the extent of copying was within fair use is a bit more subjective. So far, lack of legal action from Game Freak and Nintendo is reassuring. Pokemon games have been a prime example of stagnation, and I'm glad to see another company feature cute collectible creatures in a different genre. God damn it, MiHoYo. Hopefully Palworld's absurd sales will shake things up and encourage more interesting and unique projects in the future. That's my hope anyway. But where there's success, there's jealousy, and with jealousy comes drama and accusations. There are rumors that the developers were using buckets of USB sticks to share all of their progress between each other, as supposedly it would be harder for them to just learn the basics of Git. Yet, at the same time, they are also accused of being tech geniuses that managed to create all of the pals through AI. And maybe it's ChatGPT's fault for setting the wrong expectations of how difficult it is to produce something respectable, especially as obscure as meshes of Pokemon knockoffs. But as someone with experience in both Git and AI, I can guarantee you that at least one of those rumors isn't true. Then there was the whole story about the models being stolen directly from Pokemon, with just some tweaks here and there. And this time, there's evidence. Putting two models together, one from Pokemon and one from Palworld, reveals that they both have some spiky fur as well as some standard dog features. People were shocked. How could they do that? How could they so shamelessly copy so much from poor Scooby-Doo? But the narrative quickly changed when suspicion arose. What if the models were modified to look similar when they actually aren't? So the journalist reached out to the person who made the original comparison. Was it all rigged from the start? Nope, I just scaled the models to keep them the same size. Understandable, was the reaction of most journalists, but not all of them. John Papadopoulos had a genius thought. Scaling is a transformation, and transformation is change. So not only did he change the models, but he just confessed about doing so. Articles get written, and since the only thing that matters nowadays is a headline, it is taken for a fact. Modder, who accused Palworld of using 3D models from Pokemon games, admits that he has faked everything. Yeah, not deceptive in the slightest there, John. What I'm trying to say with all of this is, well, first of all, don't trust the headlines or some random messages or tweets. And if you don't have the time or interest in double checking some new questionable information, at the very least, don't propagate it. But in terms of the game, it just goes to show how clueless everyone is. So, what's the point in those speculations? I'm sure if there's something fishy going on with the models, Nintendo's lawyers will act fast. It is clear that Palworld's developers took ideas from many games. Zelda, Ark, Elden Ring. They're not hiding it. On the contrary, they are openly stating that they want to create a combination of their favorite games. And as long as that's in fair use, that honestly doesn't sound too bad. A bigger question is whether they can actually pull it off. Because right now, Palworld's got problems, man. There's janky climbing, at times unreasonable base building collisions. Pals getting stuck somewhere in the base and don't do anything, starve to death. Assigning pals just wouldn't work half of the time for no reason. Assigning pals just wouldn't work the other half of the time for the wrong reason. And even if it said it worked, pals might still decide to do something else after a while. Grappling hook refuses to work with certain angles of the terrain. Camera is getting stuck in your crotch. Teleportation. Sleeping on chests. NPCs getting stuck in the terrain. NPCs chilling in lava and underwater. Getting stuck in the ceiling. Invaders being unable to find a path to your base, and just being very janky in general. Roof skip. Grass and eggs in the air. Attack sound looping indefinitely. Random insatiable hunger. And so much more. But on top of the bugs, there are also countless poor design choices, like the armor durability system. Get hit 2 or 3 times and your armor is just broken. Pals don't automatically eat while mounted. Non-dungeon caves lack a way to quickly come out of them after beating a boss, forcing you to take the same long path you took to get there. And merchants and guards look so ridiculous together, making the whole game feel like it's an asset flip. Honestly, look at this is ridiculous. But overall, I was very surprised by the depth of progression systems in Palworld, but the world itself is not too shabby either. Given its size, I was expecting more generic scenery and repeated content, but new places looked fresh and different biomes felt quite distinct from each other, while I kept encountering new creatures. The developers seem to have nailed the core of the game, and they've certainly succeeded in attracting attention. Now I just hope that with the newfound budget, they won't waste the opportunity this game has and keep working on it. Not just by adding new content, but ironing out the flaws of the existing one, and shaping a more solid and distinct identity of its own. But I guess we'll soon see how it goes. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.